quick morning update. We went to the tree stands this morning and sat there for 3 hours or something. And nothing, never saw or heard anything. So now we just came further down this ridge and we're just gonna hang out for an hour, maybe two, eat some snacks, and wait until it got a little bit closer to the middle of the day. And then start calling and see what would happen. Well, we didn't barely got our packs off and started to get situated, and the bull started bugling. He's a ways away, but started bugling on his own. We started calling to him. He's responded a couple times, and then another one directly below us, which I think is a little bit closer, responded as well. But now it's been a couple minutes, and neither one are responding. So I don't know, but that's where we're at. It's probably around 10:30, I don't know, somewhere in that time frame. So we'll see what happens. We're set up ready to go. If we can get one to come in, maybe we can get a spike or something to come in silent. We'll see. Okay, I've been calling to this bull for 45 minutes. We moved down about 200 yards from where we were. This guy has not been willing to budge. The last couple bugles have sounded a little bit closer. So it's possible he's coming. But man, he is taking his sweet time. And he really needs to be coaxed. So we'll see what happens. Well, we're doing the walk of shame back up to our packs. We called to that bull for, 45 minutes or so, and he just was not coming. And we had some others that were responding in the beginning as well, but we dropped down a couple hundred yards, I think I mentioned that, and he still wasn't gonna come. So I don't know if he had cows, just not interested. He's been hunted before and he's played the game. I don't know, but we're heading back up to our packs. It's noon. So man, I think it was probably over an hour actually. Don't you think, Ralph? Was it start to finish over an hour? Yeah. Yeah, so it was probably over an hour, and he responded the entire time, but just wasn't coming. So alright, headed back up to our packs. We're gonna have some lunch, and then I'm not sure, but I think we're gonna head up to the very top of this ridge and then follow it around off to our left, my left right now, and just see what other kind of sign we see and see if we get into any other elk. That's it for now. Okay, we're back at our packs. We ate lunch, been here, 45 minutes or so, I'd guess. And this joker has started bugling again. The same one that we were bugling with for over an hour before lunch. And now he's going again. But I think both Ralph and I think that he has moved. And he's still not real close, but he seems like he's closer, and it seems like he's straight down from us. Whereas before he was a ways off to our right, looking down the hill. So maybe something happens. Probably not. He's probably just sitting down there laughing at us, thinking to himself, watch what I can make these idiots do. But we'll see what happens. So we're on top of the ridge, and there's two ponds up here. This is the little one right here. The big one is probably about twice the size, and it's completely empty, dry. I mean, it's muddy, but there's no real water in it. And this one is usually out to the edges, is really low too, and disgusting. And my water bladder just ran out. And I was hoping that one of these places I could get some water from, at least to get through the rest of the day, and there's no way I'm putting that in my bladder. So yeah, it's dry, really dry this year. And I'm not sure where I'm gonna get water for the rest of the day. Found this rub right next to this new trail we didn't know was here that I believe leads us down into the bedding area. Really cool. We may camp out here until evening and try to either ambush or call something in from here or this general area. We'll see. Look at that. It's what, 2.5 feet over my hand? And like I said, I don't think it bent the tree down.
Takes a big bull to do that.
Wow. Well, it's about 4 o'clock. We're probably in our last setup for the day. We followed the ridge all the way down, just shy of the end of it. And we're getting set up well, before I even talk about that, I should close out on the bull that we called to for a couple of hours probably, around noon. Turns out, after all of that, Ralph and I are both pretty confident it was a hunter, or hunters. It did end up coming and getting fairly close, probably within 100 yards, and when we could hear the bugles that close, it sounded like hunters. And then when the cow called back, they stopped. So, yeah, so a lot of time and effort, but I mean, the reality is we were in the place, if we were going to see elk, that's where it was going to be, and that's what we would have been doing anyway, so it's not like it was a huge waste, but it is frustrating that people were in there, like, that's one of our better areas. It's part of the game, but you always hope you can go as long as possible without other people getting into some of those spots. But anyway, so back to here. We got to here. First thing we did is we dropped our packs in the general area where we thought we were going to set up. And then we grabbed a decoy, and I had Ralph stand where we, thought elk might come out if we started calling. And then I went and set the decoy up and had him tell me, where we could see it and whatnot. So anyway, the point of that is we kind of messed around for 10 minutes. I mean, we weren't in any rush or anything. It's only 4 o'clock. Just got done with all of that. Just walked back to our packs. We're setting our packs up in our spots in the edge of the trees here, where I am right now. And, we just started doing it. All of a sudden, it's a stampede. And it's at least one elk. I think it sounded like multiple elk. We never saw them. We don't know where they came from. We don't know if they just... We're in a saddle here. It's one of the reasons why we stopped here. We don't know if they were just happened to come across and they either caught our wind or they saw us setting our packs up. We have no idea. It was just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, a stampede. We cow called and they stopped. We never did see them, but they stopped running. But we didn't know where they were, what they were. We didn't know, and then eventually they just kind of took off again. Didn't sound like it was on a full sprint, but definitely, took off on a trot again, and that was that. So, right idea. 10 minutes earlier, if we'd have been set up, they might have come walking across right in front of us, which is that's what we're set up here for. So, we've got about, I'd say, 3.5, 4 hours to close this out tonight. 3.5 probably realistically. And that would mean walking all the way back in the dark. So I don't even know if we have that, but so maybe something can still happen. But today has been kind of a snap back to reality. I guess you can't call, big bulls into 30 or 40 yards every day. This is, I guess, much more kind of speed we're used to, I guess. So we haven't actually seen an elk today, which hopefully we can correct in the next 3 hours. So that's where we are. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. It's our, I think, third full day. Last night was kind of a bust. After we busted those elk that we never saw, we stayed there for like another hour, hour and a half, and then hunted our way back along the ridge, basically all the way back to camp. And we heard one or two distant bugles, nothing that wanted to interact, and that was it. So first day this year of not seeing any live animals. I mean, we obviously heard bugles and heard those ones running, but we didn't lay eyes on anything. So looking to change that today. It's probably somewhere around 7 o'clock, I'm not sure. We just climbed to the very top of this ridge that's behind the tree stand. And we hunted here a couple days last year. So we're going to hike down this ridge and then drop down the back side of it and see what we can find. We already let out a few cow calls, and last year when we did that we had bull bugle right on top of us. This year nothing so far. Start of third full day. Here we go. Oh, I forgot, just as a quick side note, yesterday when we went up to the tree stand for the morning, I set my pack down, we started to get ready to get set up, and all of a sudden I looked over and I heard a bunch of buzzing, and I saw like, I don't know, 5 to 10 wasps just like swarming right there. This is early in the morning. And of course right away I'm like, oh crap. So I grab my pack and I move it and I set it right on top of an underground wasp nest. So just very lucky that it was still really cold in the morning. Otherwise it could have started off pretty rough. But I just thought that was kind of funny. And then I stayed there the rest of the time for the morning, probably 3 feet away from it. But I think it was cold enough where they were flying in and out, but they left me alone. So yeah, yesterday was a rough day. We're going to try to change that today. This tree looks like it got struck by lightning. You can see it all the way up. It just blew pieces off it. I don't know how it didn't start a fire with as dry as everything is, but there's a piece lodged right there. There's pieces all over the ground blown out. This piece right here. And pieces on the bark right there. And then pieces, they're just scattered everywhere, right? But there's a piece way over there, right there. Thank goodness it didn't start a fire. That's pretty crazy. Where? This way. How close was he? How close? Right in that middle opening right there. I hear running. Was he brown or black? Black. I haven't seen too many bears, but probably medium size. Yeah. See the whole thing? Pretty much, but he went through pretty quick. I don't think so, but I didn't see him long enough
afternoon, but he just ran across there. And he was running when he went by there. He went by so quick. That could be.
Alright, we've had an exciting morning so far. I'll give more of an update later. But we saw black bear at about 30 yards, Ralph did. It, I think, already saw us, and it was on the run. We looked for it, couldn't find it again. We've been dropping down this ridge, down into the bottom, going after, there's a couple bulls bugling, but one specifically that's pretty responsive. And on the way, just like 5 minutes ago, pretty sure it was a spike, but we just busted one at like 15 yards. I saw it right at the last second, right before it busted. Which I don't know. I don't know what you do about that. I mean, we've been going slow, calling, looking, listening. But this bull has been bugling. I think he has cows with him, because he seems like he just wants to stay in that area. And I don't know. He just seems to be acting that way. But we're going to drop down some more, see if we can get closer. We've been close, but it seems like he's going away. And I think that's the other thing, is it seems like cows are leading him to bed. But I'll give more of an update later. Okay, it's about 9:50. We followed that bull, the one that was bugling most consistently, all the way down. He actually took us to the meadow that we were in, that we found last year, by following I'm sure it was the same bull. So the plan was this morning, if we didn't hear any bugles or there just wasn't anything going on, this is where we were going to come, is to this meadow that we found last year. But we had bulls that started bugling right after we saw the bear, and so we just started going after them. And sure enough, this is where it took us. So we got all the way down here, but when we got to the edge of this, the bull had stopped bugling. I'm sure it probably bedded. And the wind was about as consistent as you could expect it to be, but it would like switch, for like 10 seconds at a time or whatever. So I didn't want to push it. He wasn't bugling anymore. So we just sat down and just decided we were going to hang out until the thermals maybe kicked in, or we heard elk. So I sat for like 20 minutes, and then I just can't sit that long. So I got up and I was going to go explore this meadow like last year and just see what kind of sign was in it, how fresh it was, how much has been used. And I just got to the edge of it, and the bull fired off. And this is just like last year. He's like 75 yards from us when he first bugles. So immediately, and had we pushed any further, we would have bumped him. Just like last year, we stopped. Same reason, they stopped bugling. The wind was kind of all over. So anyway, so I turned around, headed back to Ralph, and before, I think he bugled one more time, and then another bull that was probably 150 yards away, I'd guess, bugled back. And the two of them kind of bugled back and forth just a little bit, but we grabbed our stuff. We were going to move just to the top of this little knoll, just right behind the camera here. And we got almost to it, and that bull bugled, in our face. He was right on top of us, easily within 50 yards. And it's a meadow down here, so we just stopped where we were. We were behind some trees. We just stopped where we were. Both of us grabbed the camera, and we were certain he was going to step right out into this little meadow. He was right there. He had to be right on the edge of it. And that bugle was so close. And of course, I didn't have the camera going because we were trying to get to a spot, and I didn't think this was going to happen, but the other bull was bugling also. So it almost seemed like they were going to square off, like they were going to come together and they were going to figure things out. And then sure enough, wind switched. I didn't feel like it went that direction, but it switched, and he busted. And that was it. It was over just like that. We were right on top of him. And the other bull, though, he stopped too. I'm sure he heard this bull running. But we have gotten him to bugle again. And I think we even got the main bull to bugle again as well. But he's gone. He's quite a ways away. So it's been a really exciting morning. But there's nothing on video. That bear ran so fast, there was no time to get him on video. This whole interaction here, we were ready once after he bugled that last time, and he was so close, we were like, okay, camera's ready, and we were both ready to go, and then he busted. And then that spike, there was no time for that. He was at 15 yards, and I saw him, and then poof, he was gone. So it's been great, but not so great for getting anything on video. But so I think we've waited long enough now. We're gonna head down like we did last year. We're just gonna keep going down. It gets it gets into the timber, but it's older timber, so there's not much undergrowth, so you can see a ways. And this is where we went probably, 200-300 yards down, and we got the bull that was raking and bugling down there. So who knows? They're still in the area. At least the one is, and so we're gonna probably make our way down through there, find some place to set up, and then maybe do some calling. By that time, it should be getting close to kind of midday. We weren't expecting these guys to start off this early again. But so that's it so far. We just had lunch. We started our noon calling. We got 2 bulls that are responding to us. The wind is so squirrely. There's one. Hopefully you can hear that. I don't see any way that we're going to make this happen because the wind is so crazy. But certainly not going to hurt anything to try. So here we go. He's getting close. thought that I could get on video because he was just right behind those dang trees right there. Hopefully something. But he was a 7-point on one side. For sure, I couldn't see the other side. Wow, that was awesome. He came in fast. Alright, that just turned the day around. Maybe we'll even get one more. Okay, it's about 2:15, somewhere in that time frame. We just had that big bull come in. I'm amazed that we got him to come in because the wind had been switching quite a bit, so I kind of thought it was over before it started, but he came in. I mean, he was on top of us. It was awesome. He was bugling like right in our face. And he got to, he was at or inside 20 yards. But you know, if he'd have went to the left, he would have stepped out into the open. If he would have went to the right, he would have stepped out into the open. Of course, he didn't. He stayed behind this little stand of trees. We did have the decoy set up, so at one point he turned. It was probably, I don't know, 30 yards, 20, 30 yards up the little ridge from me, and that's where Ralph was. And he turned that way, and I thought he was going to walk that way, and then he would have stepped right out into the open. But for some reason, he then turned back and stood there in the trees, and then eventually he just trotted off. Didn't sound like he really like busted, but he didn't just walk away. He trotted off. So I don't know if it was he wasn't seeing what he was looking for and he got nervous, or if the wind did switch for just a second. He was so close, like it wouldn't have taken much, and he would have smelled us. It was really cool, but I gotta apologize. Horrible camera work. When he was in the trees like that, like I could see him with my bare eyes, but I looking on the little screen here for the camera, it just all looked like trees. Like I couldn't tell if I had it pointed in the right direction, and you can't move that much when they're that close. So I watched it back just a little bit after, and like I've got the camera pointed like 10 feet up in the tree. So I don't know if I got any of him. Towards the end, I saw that and I kind of tilted it back down, but I don't know if I got anything. And either way, it would have just been like little patches of tan between the trees and then his antlers. It did look like on the one side, it looked like on his 6th point, if that's what it was that I was seeing, he had a 7th point coming off. So I think he was a big bull. And it was awesome, but today's not been a good camera day. It's been really exciting, as far as action with the bear and the spike, and then now this guy that just came in. And we just came down to the end of the ridge here and did some more calling, and we did have 2 bulls bugle back at us, but neither one, you know, committed or came in. So now we've got a really long hike out of here. So like I said, it's only like 2:15 or something, so we're gonna take our time, hunt our way back out of here. It's not a great time of day, but it's cool enough where maybe something might be moving. But we just want to get back to the very top before we drop down the other side before it's dark, because there's no trail. So we just got to bushwhack our way. And if you're going uphill and get into brush and you can't see, that's a nightmare. So that's it for today. Still some time left. Maybe something else will happen. All right, we made our big climb back up to the top of this ridge, and we're here. It's a tough climb, but thankfully it didn't take that long. But check out this, I don't know if it's a dust wallow. I mean, look at the size of this thing. It's huge. I know you can't tell from the video, but I'd say it's, I don't know, 12 feet across this way maybe, 13 feet, and then, geez, like, it goes all the way down there. And then, of course, right next to it, we got that rub, and then that rub over there. So I think we're going to set up right here. We probably won't be fortunate enough to have him come back in here tonight, but we'll probably do some calling from here. It's starting to get pretty overcast, which is cooling things off real quick. So we'll see. That could bode well for us. It's about 4 o'clock. So we're gonna get set up. We'll see what happens. Here we go. I just walked like 10 yards. Here's another. This is probably his bed. Dang. Yeah, and those are fresh tracks. Like, that's probably last night, this morning. Man. Hopefully he's still somewhere in there and we can get him back. Alright, here we go. Just getting back to camp at last light. It's a pretty good day. Ralph saw a bear at like 30 yards this morning. I think I spooked it, so it was already running, unfortunately. No shot, no time for a shot, no time for video. And we were going after a bull that had been bugling all morning and bumped a spike at like 15 yards. Again, no time for a shot or for video. And then we got on a big bull. Unfortunately, I think he caught our scent before we could get video of him, but we were within 50 yards easy. He was right on top of us. We got on another big bull, called him in, I think it was 20 yards. Did a really bad job with the camera. So I don't know if we got any video of it. We definitely got video of him coming in and his bugles right next to us. But I don't know if we got any video of him. Then we've had some more bugles, but the rest of the day has been pretty slow. But I'd say we're kind of back on track. So looking forward to tomorrow. We haven't figured out the plan for that yet. But ready to go, see what we can find.